I created a random roller coaster prompt generator. Some time ago, while surfing the internet, while I was stuck in thinking in new ideas for coasters, I stumbled upon a roller coaster idea generator. The web page was originally meant to serve as a tool to help find inspiration to create a roller coaster in No Limits 2, but I liked to use it in Planet Coaster. Then, out of the blue, the web page was no longer available and I got stuck again with creating the same coasters I create with no way to force me to push my creativity. Until now. With the idea the old generator had in mind, I created a new generator that will help me and everyone that uses it to push their creative boundaries in any roller coaster simulation game. This is the random roller coaster prompt generator. Let me show you how it works and let's create a roller coaster based on what the generator proposes. Here we are. Basically how it works is it will tell you a couple of things divided by these dividers that you will need to accomplish or not, because sometimes the generator is a little bit more lenient, so it lets you choose or it just tells you to use it as an inspiration. So for example, on this example, we would have a Schwarzkopf catapult aimed to be considered a family coaster with a max height of around 70 meters or a top speed of around 95 kilometers per hour. This could ask you to have a max height of exactly 70 meters and a top speed of exactly 95 kilometers per hour. There's going to be 3 elements and the generator will tell you to add all 3 to or one of the elements to the layout. It will tell you if you have any limitations regarding the length of the coaster, and then it will give you 3 extra challenges related to the layout or the coaster itself. It can tell you to choose 1 to accomplish, it can tell you to choose 2, like in this one, or it can tell you that all 3 need to be accomplished. It also will tell you try to add them, but you're not forced to, just use them as an inspiration. It can also tell you that. And then finally, as for the theme, the generator will give you 5 different theme prompts, and it can ask you to just use it as an inspiration if you want to, or if you're willing to add theming, it will tell you to include at least 1, at least 2, or at least 3 of the following themes. And so then you can choose which one of the themes you want to use, or if you want to theme it. If you only want to do a layout, then skip this part, So I'm gonna press, I guess, 5 times the generator, and after that we're gonna see if the roller coaster that it tells us to do is doable, because sometimes there's gonna be roller coasters that are not doable in Planet Coaster 2. For example, I checked a Schwarzkopf catapult is basically a shuttle coaster. It is basically like a Skyrocket 2, but in an older version. You were able to do this in Planet Coaster 1, but in Planet Coaster 2, you're not, because the Schwarzkopf model doesn't have that drive tire, like backwards and forwards lunge thing. So yeah, you're not able to do it. Anyways, we're gonna press it, see if it's possible, and then do it in Planet Coaster. So we're pressing now. All right. So, the coaster over here. Build an intimate mega coaster aimed to be considered a family coaster. Okay, pretty doable. With a max height of around 22 meters or 74 feet, or a top speed of 153 kilometers per hour. Taking into account that this should be a family coaster, I think I'm gonna lean towards the 22 meters, 74 feet, because 153 kilometers per hour would be really difficult to achieve with a family coaster prompt, Then we get all these inversions and we need to add 2 of these elements to the layout. Okay, we need to add either a double corkscrew, a cable lift hill, and then a swoop dive, which I think it's pretty easy. I'm gonna add a cable lift hill because, well, an intimate mega coaster could have a cable lift hill, and then a swoop dive. As far as I know, swoop dive is a made-up element, but it could go in my favor. A swoop is like something that some coasters do before the lift hill. So, for example, I think Raging Bull does it. A lot of the B&Ms do it. I know Superman in Parque Warner Madrid does it. Valraven in Cedar Point also does it, which is kind of like it goes like it just turns 180 degrees, but while going down, and it does like there's a little depression over there, so it takes a little bit more speed than just turning normal. I think that's a swoop, and then a dive is a dive, so making a new element out of that. That's cool. we could have it be like a non-inverting or something. I think I have some ideas with that. The coaster must be a short one. Makes sense. Having this height should be. And then additionally, the following are 3 extra challenges, of which you must accomplish at least one. So the challenges are: design a coaster with a themed station that's entirely hidden from view. Okay. Build a coaster that starts with a rolling launch, and then build the coaster so that it passes through a waterfall. I think I'm gonna do this one just like in the style of Big Bear Mountain in Dollywood. I think I'm gonna base myself on that and try to do it. And then finally, as for the theme, you must include at least 3 of the following as part of your theme. I don't know if I'm gonna do theming on this coaster because I want this to be a like fast kind of video, so we'll see. But either way, I'm just gonna copy all this and leave it in a Word document so that I don't lose it in case the webpage refreshes. And we're gonna go straight into Planet Coaster and see what we can do. And we're back on Planet Coaster 2, and we're gonna go straight up into the coaster that we were asked to build, and here we have it, the Automax sit down 4-seater. I think this one is just perfect for the job. So we got some of the stuff to do. We're gonna take that into account in a second, but right now I just want to see and figure out what I want to do with this station, because we have a top height of around 22 meters, so I don't want to go too overboard with the station being too high, because if not, then we would lose a lot of margin to make the coaster pick up speed and have a nice pace, you know? So I feel like I'm just gonna leave it at this height, for example, just enough to have some footers over there. And then as far as the terrain's configuration comes, they didn't tell us anything about it, but I feel like if it's gonna be like a mega light, we're gonna have it have 3 cars. Maybe could be like an interesting situation, because 2 car or 2, maybe 2 cars would be the most interesting situation, taking into account that it's going to be a small coaster and it needs to be pretty small in height as well. Making it have like really sharp turns could be good, and that could be really achievable with a 2-car train maybe. So I think I'm gonna do that. Now I'm gonna go into edit mode and delete all the pieces that are not necessary for this coaster. And I guess we're gonna go into the cable lift straight ahead. Alright, and then let's just go straight up to the top height, which is around 22 meters. So I guess now that we just reached that, I'm just gonna try and like that. Okay, that's 22. We're gonna leave it like that, and then we're gonna create the layout. So as for the layout, let me check if we had something strange. All right, so we need to have a short layout. I chose that the coaster should go through a waterfall, and then we should have a cable lifter, which we already did, so that's cool, and then a swoop dive, which I feel I could do right now, because the dive loop is first inverting and then like doing the half loop. So I feel like the swoop dive, I'm gonna do it right now that we got like some height and I can do it. So I'm just gonna do that now. So that's the swoop, and I guess now we gotta do the dive, right? So okay, apparently I can invert this. So we're not gonna make it invert, because it's supposed to be a family coaster, so it's gonna be kind of like a half dive, but that goes pretty slow. So I'm just gonna make it go lower, just like that, and then turn like that. And we're gonna pretend this was a dive, even though I don't think it could count as a dive, but we are gonna pretend it is. Alright, so that's the new element, the swoop dive, I guess. And right after this, I guess we're gonna have to start facing this way so that we can end the coaster, because it's supposed to be a short one. So I don't know how short it should be, but like it should be short. So I don't know what to do. We also need to make it go through the waterfall in some way. We'll figure it out in a second, I guess. But right now, since it needs to be a family coaster, I think what I'm gonna do is just to do like a small, simple helix over here. Not that high. We're just gonna make it go higher little by little. And then I'm gonna have kind of like a pinch of airtime over here. So go like that. And it's a family coaster, so the airtime shouldn't be too ejector-y, but I feel like it's intimate, so they would want to make it a little bit more extreme than other manufacturers, you know? That's floater at most, but I think it's fine for this part of the coaster, you know? They came through this and then it's enough to me, I feel like. So we're gonna do a small turn now, just like that. And I guess we could go over the station maybe, or kind of over the station, and then have it be a little bit more ejector, like have this one a little bit more of an ejector feeling. That's not too much. Let's make it a little bit more intense. So like that, and then they just go into a valley. And since it's a short ride, I feel like I should start thinking about going back. So I'm gonna add a really sharp turn over here, but I'm gonna make it go the other way around. And then we're gonna put a block section over here because this chain lift is not considered a block. So I need to have a block section somewhere around here. So I feel like I'm gonna add the block section over here. I think that should be fine. We are not gonna trim it though, because it's going pretty slow already. So I just don't wanna trim it. Right now I gotta make sure, since this is going that way, that this goes down quick so that we ensure that there's no valleying. And then we're gonna do a sharp turn over here because we're going pretty slow. So we can do a sharp turn and then just start banking it. And then I feel like some ejector over here, but let me see if the coaster actually fills the, you know, the limits. Oh, it does. Okay, I felt it was like a tighter squeeze, but it's not tight at all. Like, I feel like they would be pretty much able to achieve that. Let me first edit this, and I want to make it go to 13 kilometers per hour because I want to test if it gets stuck over here, if it will make it back and through this airtime hill. In an extreme case, you know, we're gonna try to design it so that it doesn't do that, but okay, it would make it, so good. And then after that, we're just gonna finish the coaster. Also, I've ultimately decided to add one more piece of station over here because I want to make this a little bit bigger. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna make it 4 trains long. That's how it is, I guess. And then I'm gonna make this final stretch a little bit curved to this side so that this turn is not as sharp. Then we're adding a block section and finally some brakes, and we are finally connecting this. There we go. The whole coaster is now finished. I usually don't do it this way, but now I'm just gonna check for forces in this coaster to check that the forces are not too high. So for that, I just need to smooth a little bit first. So I'm gonna do a rough smoothing. It's not gonna be a really precise process. It just needs to be smooth enough so that the jank doesn't show up in the test results. Alright, the coaster is smooth now. I'm just gonna check, especially laterals, because vertical G-forces shouldn't be too high on this coaster at any point. They're gonna be high over here probably, but not as high. So I'm just gonna check for the laterals. Okay, we're having high laterals over here, but it's for a reason, so I feel like I am still gonna edit it a little maybe, and that's all the forces checked. I'm just gonna do one last smooth and we'll call it a day. Okay, and here it is. I've been thinking about it and I think I'm gonna make it into a 3-car train. I felt like the 4-car felt too weird for me, and 2-car is too, it's not a lot, so I feel like 3 trains should be the best option. Now we're gonna make this go into a block section mode to add a second train because we can have 2 trains on this track. And yeah, not much else to say. So as you guys can see, the trains have plenty of time to load and unload guests, because up until this block is not cleared, this train will not leave. So yeah, I think we don't even need to like check the minimum interval or anything, because this can be 1 and it will be perfect either way. So yeah, we're gonna add the supports now, which I almost forgot about. Interesting. Is that because of this being there in the way? Okay, that's much better. Let me smooth this out a little so that it doesn't look janky. And now we're back to the beginning. Okay, all right. I think all the supports we have are a little bit too many. And with 2, we should be good to go. Honestly, with only 1, we should be good. Like, having this one over here, it's not a big structure. It's not getting a lot of weight on it. So I feel like 1 should be good. But just in case, we're just gonna put 2. Just in case it's not enough. We're gonna over-engineer this completely. Okay, we're placing those 2 supports over there. And then I guess we're gonna have to start placing some more on the valleys. So over here, we're going to put some more. And then here, we're going to place a couple of them as well. Okay, that looks cool. Okay. Then we're going to add 1 over here and 1 other support over here. Not in the airtime hill, actually, because the airtime hill is not having as much forces. So we're adding 2 more over there. And then I'm going to try to squeeze 1 here. Yeah, because up until this point, we're probably not going to be able to fit 1 support. So we're having all supports all around this. And then there. Okay, that sounds good. And forces are pretty high over here. So I'm just going to fill this up with supports just in case to be on the safer side, right? And with that done, the coaster is all done. Let's do a quick POV of it to see how it looks, especially in terms of smoothness. I'm not looking for forces right now because the forces have already been dealt with, but the smoothness has not. So, alright, that was pretty smooth, not gonna lie. So, I feel like we can call this a day. And now, we need to accomplish some of the challenges because we did it so that the coaster passes through a waterfall. We need to accomplish either that or having the coaster be entirely hidden from view, which would take quite a bit of work, honestly, because it's not easy to hide this. And you cannot have like the coaster be completely hidden from view with a building, because basically you would see the building, and that's not the point of that challenge in particular. So I feel like we need to create a waterfall somewhere over here. And my idea would be to create the waterfall right over here so that it deactivates when we go through it. Kind of. Something kind of like that maybe. So this being the actual, waterfall. I've also thought about making this the waterfall, which I think would make more sense, having this be the waterfall. So I guess I'm gonna do that. Now, in terms of the theming, the generator gave us 5 options and we need to include at least 3. That is, if we decide to theme this. The themes were the Space Pirates Lair, then Carnival of Nightmares, so Twisted Clowns, Warped Funhouse Mirror, and Abandoned Rides, then a Time Travel Paradox, a Space Shuttle Launch Site, and a Ghostly Shipyard. So it's kind of interesting, because if we had to choose, I would choose the Ghostly Shipyard, the Time Travel Paradox, and the Space Pirates Lair. I feel like that would be the best option, and then so this could be kind of like a waterfall, and it would make sense into the theme, but I'm not too sure about it, not gonna lie. We could also have the waterfall be here. And I think I'm not going to pay attention to the theming choices that the generator gave us because they're a little bit too much for what we need to add, which is a waterfall over here. So I think I'm just going to go into a tropical theme, a normal tropical kind of resort, maybe themed family coaster. And for that, I'm just going to jump into Speedboat, I guess. So yeah, we're going to jump into Speedboat and let's see what I can come up with, which I don't know what will come up out of this, but yeah, let's get to it. And after a little bit of some light theming, this is the final result of the coaster. So yeah, I just added some light theming, it's not too much, and I added some like plants and shrubbery all around the outside perimeter so that you could see how this ride could look in a park. But yeah, I feel like it turned out pretty cool for what the generator asked. This transfer track area, it's pretty cool. I'm really proud of that transfer track area. And yeah, like it turned out better than I thought. Of course, I added the waterfall over there, as you guys can see. Is it the most realistic thing? Absolutely not, because having water drop all the time against the track would have a lot of wear and tear, but it is not my place to decide how this would be taken care of. I just placed it and that's it. But yeah, in reality, this wouldn't work just because of that. Yeah, so there's not much else to see over here. I think we should go and ride this ride, but first let's check the actual results. Test results. So we're having a track length of 400 meters, which is almost 500, which is not a lot, and they asked us to make a small coaster, so that's fine. Then we got a 69.3 kilometer per hour speed, top speed, the average speed of 31.2 kilometers per hour, which is a pretty nice speed, honestly. The biggest drop is 17 meters, which is not what they asked us to do. It was the top height, or the maximum height of 22 meters, which is around 22 meters, so we're good. Then the maximum laterals, it's 87 Gs. I think they're reached over here because it's kind of like a really whippy transition, but not in all of the curve. It's just here as a whippy transition situation. Then we got the max vertical G-force, which is 3.25 Gs, which is a pretty nice force to experience on a family coaster. It's not experienced constantly, you know, like it's not like a sustained force, so we're good. The minimum vertical is minus 0.12, which is kind of an ejector, but not too big for it to be scary, you know. Then the max forward and the minimum forward, I don't care that much about those. And then we have one airtime count and an airtime duration of 20.20 seconds. It's not even 20. And then I just added some light theme in. I just added some resort theme over here, like a small building, because that's not the focus of this today. And then this rock archway with the actual waterfall that the generator asked us to do, and not much else. I feel like the ride is pretty complete with that. So with all that said, I'll leave you guys with some cinematic shots and then the POV. So yeah, with all that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this small video that I brought to you. If you guys liked this video, or if you guys liked the content, then make sure to subscribe. You can always change your mind later, and not much else to say from my side. So yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Bye guys.